Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Okay, welcome back everybody to Mornings with Matt. Today we've got a special guest, Mr. Nick Milotta. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, man. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So tell me, what's going on with you right now, Nick?
Well, man, I'm just taking life one day at a time. I've been kind of at home in a semi-quarantine for about 2 weeks now. Somebody at work came down with the virus. They're fine, but they closed it down and kind of sent everybody home for a while. So I'm just trying to figure out how to, I guess, move on with my life at this point.
Now you had a job where at first you weren't one of the ones that were being quarantined, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden somebody got it and then you had to shut down?
Right. So I work over at a Lockheed Martin on the base over here, and they were being super careful out of hand sanitizer, washing all the key pads and the doorknobs and stuff. And we helped train student pilots. So it was very important for us to stay open. However, when one of my coworkers got it, they just, as a safety measure, closed everything down and just let everybody go home for a while.
Yeah, wow. So your life was completely disrupted about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, me and everybody else.
Yeah.
So,
but not everybody else. That's interesting because most people, yes, life has been interrupted, but there are those big essential companies that are still going.
That's true.
My uncle, for instance, who is Joey's dad, he works in the grocery store industry, and for him, he's not allowed to get a stimulus check, I guess, is what I heard recently from Joey, because he's working like 60 hours a week,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like, oh, I'm getting screwed. But on the other hand, he's got a job, so it's hard to decide, what you'd rather have,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's going on now? Like you mentioned in your notes here that when you came over to our studio, it was a bit of a spiritual experience for you. Tell me about that.
So for a long time, I guess I've been rebuilding my life step by step over the last 10, 15 years or so. And a lot of that time I've spent kind of on my own trying to fix the things that I needed to fix before I can get myself back out there again. And coming to Deering was actually the first place that I chose to come back out and get back into society again. So suddenly moving my life into a place where I suddenly had all these close friends and a great environment to go in and just feel like I belong there was really special to me. And going down to you guys twice a week and leaving there, I just felt better mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I just felt a lot more fulfilled that way. So to me, it became, I likened it to going to church for me. So, and that's what it really was like coming down there to see you guys, because I felt so rejuvenated every time I left, So when that was kind of, when that ended for a little while, I definitely felt the hole that left behind,
Yeah, absolutely. Our studio has been likened to a church before, and people have asked me when they talk to me about my church and my involvement, and I always tell them that I don't usually get too involved in like small groups and different things like that at the church environment, because I'm like, we already do that type of stuff, like that's kind of like our every week thing over here. And we do, like, we feel the same as you. I mean, you guys are our community, you're our people, and so yeah, it's been a major adjustment. So so you're in this little 2-week stint, and so where are you mentally right now through this? Are you doing well with it? Are you feeling like you're struggling in some way?
At first, I would say I probably wasn't doing as good as I could have been, just because it was kind of like a shock, like, okay, well, my life was moving in this direction and I felt like I was making progress finally and accomplishing things and moving towards my goals. And all of a sudden there was a stop put to that. And I kind of had to scramble in my mind and try to figure out, well, okay, how do I continue to do that? How do I continue to move towards my goals when I can't really, I'm really limited on what I can do? So, and that kind of, to be honest with you, there was a while there where that kind of turned into a little bit of, well, I'll just relax today. I'll stay in bed a little bit longer. And I got tomorrow, I got the rest of the week. So I started to procrastinate, kind of push things off. And then that kind of turned into a habit. So I kind of got a little sluggish there for a while, but I have the energy mentally to try to continue on, but it's been tough.
Got it. So have you jolted yourself out of it, or is maybe like this morning being on the show a part of your attempt at coming out of the hole? Like, what is your thought?
So I've had jolts of coming out of it. Like, there's a test at work that I have to study for, and I've been studying for that and make myself study for that, or make myself continue my exercises, even if I have to do it in the house. I was going for jogs and stuff like that, which I can still do, but and as far as the show, this was a great opportunity for me to be honest. I haven't really been getting up before 8 o'clock for a couple of days. So this has been a great experience or opportunity for me to have a purpose in the morning. So I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Well, like, how do you feel this morning having been up? What time did you get up today?
I got up about 6.
Okay. And how do you feel right now?
I feel good. I feel like there's a whole day ahead of me, and I'm pretty optimistic.
Yeah.
The energy's good.
Because truthfully, you look good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, really, and I mean that with all sincerity. We had to make a choice of what time we were going to do this show when we started it. I guess it was about, what episode are we on, Joey?
We're on like 17, 16.
So a couple weeks ago, we had to decide what time to start the show, and I get up pretty early, and I was like, well, the one good thing about 7 o'clock is it doesn't really get in the way of too many things.
Absolutely.
So it'll be hard for something to come in and disrupt the show. So that's a good hour. But then the other thing I did think about was, if people want this kind of content, or if they want it live, they're going to have to get up for it.
Sure.
And I thought that was a good thing. And so, so that's good. And so what you want to do for yourself, and I'll just give you a couple hints and some tricks that I've used, because I got to tell you, I've been saying this a lot. I have been struggling also, like, there's no doubt. But I've been trying to practice what I preach, and thank goodness I've got a team around me who has heard my jargon for a very long time. And so when I'm down, I usually come to them, whether it be my wife, my kids, or the team here at the studio. And I love this concept of dark to light, which is basically what you're doing right now. So you're saying, here's the thing, here's the truth, this is what I'm going through. Let me say it out loud, and then be willing to hear some kind of a redirect to help me. So I do that a lot. I do it constantly, and recently I've been doing it more than usual. And usually the team will say, or my wife will say, well, let me give you a piece of your own advice, and they'll throw something at me. But the key is right now to lock this memory in your mind and remember that you feel good. Remember that your skin tone feels a little bit fresher, and that you just feel a little better about yourself. And the idea is to lock that in and make that memory stronger than any feeling that you get from sleeping in. So the associations can change, because if you don't change the associations, then you'll always be kind of playing this back and forth game where you have to have something in order to get up. But if you can just associate, hey, I feel good when I wake up. I feel better when I wake up. Is it a struggle? Yeah. But so is going to the gym or choosing not to eat right, or we all know what's good for us and what's not. So if you feel it and you remind yourself and you go, this feels really good, and then ideally you can associate something else with the sleeping in. So you can say, man, I felt sluggish, or I felt lazy, or I felt, bad or depressed, or whatever it is. And you can just associate it with something you want to change. And now what you're doing is you're neuroprogramming yourself to do the thing automatically that you know is going to set you up for success. Whether it be harder or not, you're just it's just what you do. It's who you are.
Absolutely. And and that would help tremendously. And it's something that I have used to a degree before. But also another issue that I've been having is in the past I've sometimes I get bad habits, like in the middle of the night during times like this when I don't have a schedule or things going on. Like I love to eat, so I'll go downstairs at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll grab some crackers or bagel chips and cream cheese and stuff, and I'll like snack on that stuff, which is not really good to do. Wake up in the middle of the night and go eat and then go back to sleep, and you wake up with a bunch of heartburn. But I find like if my mood drops, if my the way I feel kind of drops, then my decision making will also drop depending on how I feel.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of been a struggle too over the last
100%. And I can tell you that food is something that I struggle with too. It's 100% one of my things. And I've always carried my weight well. And then recently, over the last 2-3 years, I got myself in really good shape before I blew my knee out. But I was never eating like really good, but I was working out like a champion. So it was like, I felt like a thoroughbred half the time. And then I blew my knee out, and it was like, dang, like this is hard, like really hard. I have to really deal with this food addiction thing, and I'm still battling it, dude. So I have the same things come up with me when I'm sad or whatever, or I'm feeling lonely, or I'm just feeling like, man, this is a lot of stress going on right now. Food is one of the places that I turn to. So I totally understand what you're saying. My advice doesn't change though.
Right.
So the idea being, that first decision, I think, starts the night before. And so you're going to decide tonight that you're going to get up tomorrow. So you need your own morning show, so to speak. Like you need your own morning ritual, something that is yours and it's protected. And you say like, this is the thing. I'm not going to miss it. I have to do this thing, whatever it is at this time. And maybe it's like, if you could, I know you're very attached to your mother who passed, maybe it's praying to her, or it's some kind of like just something very emotional and connected for you. So you're dedicated the night before to waking up. Then what's interesting is those little decisions that are being made at night are actually stemming from the decisions in the morning. So what happens is, if the very first decision of our day that we make is to hit the snooze button, then we've programmed ourselves from the very beginning of our day that we're going to procrastinate. We're going to hit the snooze whenever we don't feel like doing the next thing. And so then all of a sudden things pile up on you. And I believe that we are only given so much willpower in a day. And I've noticed this for myself. When I'm feeling totally stressed out, it's usually because I've made too many critical decisions that day and I'm just out. And so I either need a nap, I need straight up to have like my wife take over, or the team, or just like I got to just zone out. But I know I'm not in a good capacity to make a good decision. Like I can feel it. And so one of the ways that I've protected myself is I wear pretty much the same clothes every day. So I've got about 3 pairs of pants that all look similar. I wear pretty much gray and black, and like a hoodie, and that's my thing. And so the night before, as long as I have something clean, I just fold it, stick it out on the table, and I know what I'm going to wear the next day. So it's gotten rid of one of those critical decisions that I wake up and have to think about. And the more of those I can get rid of, the better. So if I've already figured out breakfast, that helps. If I've already figured out, lunch, that helps. If I've already figured out what my schedule for the day is going to be, that helps. And so even having this morning show that I've had to do, that I committed to myself, this was one of those things where, let me tell you, Easter morning, I didn't want to come in and do this show. And it turned out to be one of our favorite ones that we did, but I really didn't want to be here. There were a couple other mornings where literally, like, it was super hard to, like, one morning Joey woke me up, I had like 5 minutes to just like wake up and get on here. But it was something that forced me to have to hold myself accountable. So I just created something that became important to me. Even this morning, the things that I'm trying to pass on to my kids is like, make this into something where you think to yourself, what are some cool things that I can do, and maybe even ask. And who knows, like let's just say you wanted to get more involved with us. Ask. I mean, who knows? The worst thing we could do is say no, right?
Right.
So like my son was all bummed about all not getting to see his friends and different things. And so I started asking him, like, well, what are the positives? Like, what could you do? Joey, go to the 2-shot, will you?
Yep.
And there he is. Look at him right here in the morning. Oh, you can't see him. Shoot. Jack, come over here. Jack, hold on. The live audience can see him, but you can't. Get over here, pal. Say hi to Mr.
Good morning.
Nick Milotta.
Hi, Nick.
Good morning, Jack. How are you?
He says, how are you?
Good. Really good.
Good. That's good, man.
Tell him about your morning, Jack.
I woke up at 3:30. Well, I didn't really wake up, but I went here at like 3:30, and I brought some school, and I did that, and we did some
So
math.
Jack, what was your choice that you made when you started thinking about what can I do, and that sort of shook you out of your negativity?
Go to the studio with you and get ahead.
Go to the studio, yeah. So then we've been making this a daily thing, right? You come here either in the morning or at night, sometimes both. And you've had more dad time, I think, since quarantine than a lot. And I've been working more hours. So even though I'm working more hours, you and me are still hanging out more, which is awesome. So that's been an advantage. All right, thanks, Jack.
Great.
So that being the idea, if you think about even Jack here, I know it's funny and cute, but the idea was like, he thought, well, I want to be at the studio more often. I was like, well, you can. There's nothing stopping you. Why not? So now he's here a lot, and he's more involved and doing things that he wasn't able to do or allowed to do before. And truthfully, he's gaining skills, knowledge, all kinds of things where when we're out of quarantine, there's a chance he might still be able to come around even when the adults are around, because he's proven that he can handle himself, So that's just one of those deals where you go, okay, like, why don't I figure out something that's going to like drive me, because right now I'm limited by XYZ. So let's even take our classes, right? You've stayed involved. You've stayed in the online courses, and we have just, dude, grinded away at making sure that our online courses are not just a Zoom link. Like, we wanted this to be an experience for people and connect and not lose that community. And in a lot of ways, we've done that. And even in the I don't know if you've seen any of the masterclass scene study stuff this weekend.
I haven't yet.
Dude, it's been we took it to a whole new level. Like, it's really, really cool the way that we're going, like, to the lobby and then back to class, and the students come together and they congratulate one another, and we're putting up these amazing scenes. It feels like the coaching is at an all-time high. And so it feels really good. It feels just like a regular master class, other than we miss the hugs and stuff.
You gotta tune in. Today's the last day.
Yeah.
Just.
I promise I will.
Yeah.
Yes.
I promise I will.
So anyway, it's been great. Yet, we do miss, of course, coming together. Like, we 100% miss it. So I know you've been in the classes, and hopefully they have still been uplifting for your week, but it's not the same, right? So you think about that and you go, okay, if I'm doing that, just ask yourself, if this is one of those places, I'm going to tell you, we're probably not going to turn you down if you want to help, and there's so many ways we can connect virtually, and you could get involved where, you could be 10x more involved than you ever were, because A, we need you right now, and B, you have the time and you'd want to anyway. And then who knows, then that becomes a career path, whether it be here or someplace else or your own thing. Like, you just find a way to contribute and to be a part of the things you love more than anything in the world. And that's what you do. And I mentioned this yesterday on the show, on the morning show. One of the things I believe we all need to do for this month, and maybe it's for longer, but you got to go back. If you have goals written out, you got to go back and pick those goals up, and you don't need to rip them up, but you just need to set them aside. So you pick up the goals that you had and you put them over here for a second and you start over.
Right.
And you say, now that this is the world I live in, those goals are irrelevant, and these new goals are the ones I need to set because this is my new circumstance. So just imagine if I set myself a 30-day set of goals and I go, okay, I'm going to be in quarantine for, let's just guess, 30 days. So in 30 days, what am I going to accomplish? And that's one of the things that we did on one of our Instagrams was this Be Extraordinary challenge. And I've been doing this since the beginning. And it was like, I wanted to look back and say every single day of the 30 days, I did something extraordinary. That was a little out of the ordinary for me and hard, and I accomplished something. So I'm doing little things like I'm refinishing a piece of furniture at my house that's not necessarily my strength, but I'm getting good at it and I'm taking my time and it feels really good. You know, we built a garden. You know, we're doing this show. We're connecting with students. We're trying to upgrade our work processes. You know, all kinds of different things. I'm trying to connect with my son more. Like you just think to yourself, like, okay, this is the crappy situation I'm in. If I just take the crappy out of it and I say this is the situation I'm in for 30 days, these are my new goals. And then what's cool about it, I think, is for me, it's become a different clock. So instead of me thinking, when is this going to be over? I'm almost worried that it's going to end too soon before I've gotten all my goals done. So now it's like this race. It's become an exciting thing where I'm going like, I don't have much time left before the quarantine's lifted, and I got to make sure I try to get all these things done because I'm looking at it as a way for me to get ahead, as a way for me to even you think about it this way. When else would I have a chance to possibly like get in and possibly meet with like the CEO of an airline, you know? But right. Like right now, maybe I could. Maybe I make a video, and this is one of my ideas, but I make a video to try to inspire their people or to, you know, thank them or just offer free training for their people that are on quarantine or whatever it is, right? But they're hurting right now. And if I create the right thing and I give it to them for free, just out of love, probably something good would come from that. I don't need something good to come from it, but probably it would. But when else would I have a chance that somebody like that would even read my email?
Right.
You know, it wouldn't happen. So I look at that as like, oh, like this is an opportunity. You know, I'm sitting here and there's millions of those types of opportunities out there sitting, waiting for us. So depending on what your goals are, you just have to completely adapt them to the situation that we're in and then sort of start over for a second. And then what's cool, I think this is going to happen, is once this is lifted, there will be certain things that you did or have been doing that you prefer. You know? So, for instance, I got a feeling when quarantine is lifted, because I started this show for quarantine. But I got a feeling when quarantine's over, I'm going to want to keep going because I really enjoy it. Like I enjoy connecting with people in the morning. I enjoy giving inspiration. I enjoy having something that drives me to get up and get going. So I'm like, probably I'm going to keep this one, you know. Other things, I'm going to want to go back to the way things were. But therefore, my goals are going to kind of mesh together. And I'll look at my old ones, and maybe some of them will be irrelevant 30 days from now. And then other ones will be adapted or changed, you know, based on whatever we're doing right now.
Absolutely. And you know, as I've been here, I have ideas and I have things that I want to do as far as, I'm going to make a video and put it on Instagram today, or I'm going to do like an acting reel and post it on YouTube. And it's just, I guess, my mindset. I need to be in the right mindset to actually put my foot on the gas and do it, just go, you know? And my mindset, like since I've been coming to you guys, my mindset has improved drastically as far as staying positive and following through on these things, you know, but I still find even now, like I have to be in the right mindset. And even if I try to accomplish these things, I will probably still do it, but it's going to take me a lot longer to actually get my hands into it and get moving.
Yeah.
But once I take the first few steps, then I can start to get through it.
Well, and this would be the power of this idea that I've created, which is I believe to be very successful, we have to learn to create false pressure for ourselves. So the truth is, the reason we study in school is because there's a test, and there's a teacher telling you the test is on this day, and if that weren't there, nobody would do the work. There'd be very few people that could be self-motivated enough to do the work and learn what they needed to learn. So that's why the testing process exists. Now, it's obviously very flawed because I went through school and just crammed at the last minute, didn't actually learn anything. So what I believe is you have to teach people the power of loving the process. And once you figure that out, school can be fixed. But school aside, the same thing can be applied to any form of work. And so what we need to do for ourselves is create these false pressures that you're putting a deadline on something that doesn't really have a deadline. So if I let me give you an example of this show, for instance. Yesterday, we had all this stuff going on. I did the show anyway. I look back, I think there was 5 viewers, something like that. So I'm like, okay, 5 people, maybe 2 of them are my mom, who knows? So the idea being like, if I don't show up in the morning, is the world going to shake up? Is it going to be like this big, thing? Probably not. But at the same time, I've created that in my own mind. Like this is a thing, number one. Number two is I've just set a goal for myself. So who knows? The world could shake me up and I don't get to do this. But I would love at the end of quarantine to say, every day of quarantine, I did this show.
Right.
Like I would love to have the days connect and say I checked off every box. Like that to me is a thing, like a sense of pride. I could be like, hey, that's something I did. So those couple things have created this false pressure. I mean, I'd put up a thing that says that we're going to be going live tomorrow. Well, just by doing that, I've told whoever that I'm going to do it. As soon as I don't do that, I've gone against my word.
Right.
So those are like tiny ways of you creating those false pressures. So you could do something like, again, you're our community, man. You're our people. We respect you a lot. Imagine you reached out to us and you just said, okay, hey, so I'm gonna do a sketch or an acting video or a reel, and I'm gonna be done by Friday. And you just tell us, for whatever reason, you just tell us, I'm going to be done by Friday. And then you post it, and we post it. Like, hey, Nick's going to be done with this thing by Friday. Now, all of a sudden, you have this thing on your shoulders where you're like, I got to get this done by Friday, And then there's a reason to just push the ball forward today, no matter what. And then you start reaching out for help even, or you start reaching to friends to get involved because, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have a hard time turning you down. You reach out to me and say, hey, I wrote this sketch. I think you're perfect for it. You want to do this little, video where we're just going to, we'll be acting together over Zoom or something. And I'll be like, yeah, like how am I going to say no to that? That sounds like a lot of fun. You're doing a lot of the work on the back end. I just get to show up and act. I mean, dude, that sounds amazing. So if I'm willing to do that, I imagine a lot of your other friends from the studio and elsewhere would want to do it too. But by reaching out and making someone else involved, that's a way of creating the false pressure where now all of a sudden you feel like if you don't do it, there's some form of consequence.
Absolutely. And, I feel like that's what I'm missing is accountability. So if I did call you guys or I did talk to my friends from class, that would give me some accountability. And then at that point, I know 100% I would do what I was going to say I was going to do. So that's totally really excellent advice. I didn't even think of that. But thank you for that. That's going to help me.
Yeah, do that. And I remember I did something way back in the day when I was trying to get myself in shape before I hurt my knee, and I posted a picture of myself on Facebook every day, and I told everyone I was going to be doing this thing, whatever, I can't remember what it was, but it was like 60 days, and I would just take a selfie, and I had to report in that I worked out that day. And that type of, again, like, I don't know who looked at it. I hardly even go on Facebook. I was just actually posting. I was not even looking that much. But the fact that I said I was going to do it, even if one person was watching, I didn't want to not do it because I didn't want people to think I was someone who didn't follow through with what I said I was going to do. So, yeah, I think that's key for you. If you can figure out how to create the false pressure Add accountability, but accountability in such a way that's fun, engaging, loving, because here's the deal. You can also finish that reel by Friday and not have it be perfect because it's never going to be perfect, and you could post part of it and then it's fine and it's still a work in progress. So you want to make sure that it's not a pressure that's going to drive you down, but one that's going to motivate you and connect you to people and get you, excited about what's going on.
Absolutely. And sometimes I do put kind of overbearing pressures on myself sometimes. Like I'll go and I'll say, well, I guess my main one right now is, well, Nick, you're getting older. You don't have, you need to get your life together. You need to start, heading in the direction of a family. You need to meet someone. You need to have kids still. You need to do this. You need to do that. And sometimes I feel like I put too much on myself, but then again, that's like a bigger overbearing thing in my life. But the smaller things, well, I need to have this done by Friday, I don't think would be as stressful and be a lot more helpful, I think, instead of having one big, huge umbrella pressure.
Totally. And I believe in Tony Robbins' philosophy on relationships. And I use this in my own life, and it's how my wife dropped in my lap like an angel. Basically, you write out the girl you want. And I'm talking about perfect, looks, intelligence, sense of humor, the way she, everything, every little detail. And you write out this perfect girl, and then you ask yourself the question, when you see this perfect girl, you say, what type of guy does that girl want to be with? And then you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, all right, we got some work to do.
Yeah.
And then but then what's cool is then you focus on you focus on those things, and you stop focusing on the girl, but you realize by making shifts in your own life, you are subconsciously attracting that, that person that's right for you, and that's how I met Leanne is literally, I stopped doing some of the things I was doing that was negative. I turned to the Bible, and I was in no way, shape, or form even a good dude. I was on my way, and I still think I'm that way, but I was in process. Well, what's crazy is I met the girl of my dreams who was also in process. And, if I hadn't picked up the Bible, she would not have even said hello to me, and back then I was like, I still had no idea, what I was doing or anything like that. But I at least had made some hard decisions, and I had let go of women and let go of certain things. And by letting go, boom, that's how it popped into my lap. So, I can't guarantee it'll happen in any like time frame of any kind, but I know that like attracts like, and that you'll be like a magnet to the people that you want to be around as long as you keep becoming that person.
And that's absolutely true, because I'll just say, and here's another I guess compliment for you guys, is that at work, my coworkers, a lot of them, 3 of them now, have said to me, Nick, you're like a different person. And they said that to me, and since I've been going to Deering, they tell me, you're like a different person now. Like, we don't even recognize you. You're positive, you're confident. And they know that I'm doing acting. They know that I'm going to Deering, and they say, wow, maybe I should check this place out.
Yeah.
Because they see how with the improvement, and since I've been changing in that way, and like you said, that the people I want to be around are like, there's a magnetism there. Right. And there definitely is, and I can feel it. And someone else has told me, it seems like your heart is open now.
That's awesome.
And they say, well, I feel like, well, maybe that's why there's such this magnetism between me and other people, where before there really wasn't, and I do feel like my heart is more open, and I just feel like, I guess, ascending from where I was before, since I started with you guys.
That's unreal, dude. And let me tell you, okay, I'm going to just say this really quick. Next time someone says that to you, say yes. You should go there, by the way. Because number one, it will help us. But number two, I believe this with my whole heart. When you change, the people around you change, or the people around you change. So what that means is either people are going to drift away from your life. You can still love them, but they're not going to kind of fit in the world that you currently are in. Or the people who are around you are going to want a little bit of what you got, and they're going to start getting curious. And that's what's happening, is they're like, hey man, like what Wheaties are you eating? Like tell me about that a little bit, you know? And you can guide them in here. And depending on how that goes, that's what I'm talking about, working with us. Like, who knows? We don't know the future, but you may have a place in helping us help people, you know, because that's the whole goal. And if you're a case study and you can turn around, because that's the goal for me, is as soon as I learn something or achieve something or whatever, immediately I want to reach back and help the next guy. You know, I want to go like, hey, I even if I'm wrong, I love going like, guys, I've been teaching it wrong for 2 years because now there's a better, faster way to get to the same information. You need to learn it this way instead. You know, and I have no problem telling everybody that I was wrong in order to bring new light to a new idea, you know, because even me being wrong, I can look back and go, when I was wrong, I was giving what I thought was right at the time, and it was the best that I knew. And so I'm okay with that, you know? So yeah, dude, that's amazing. If you're getting the people around you to be curious about bettering themselves, I mean, dude, that means you're on the right track for sure.
Yeah, and there's a few of them that do watch that do watch the podcasts and stuff like that. So their interest level might be enough to get them in the door pretty soon when we open back up. We'll see here.
Good, let's do that. Yeah, and we're gonna keep this online thing going here for as long as we have to. And one of the cool things, and I want to just throw this out there because it is pretty unbelievable. Like I was watching Joey's scene last night with Jack actually, and he didn't want to turn it off. And I don't know if it was because he didn't want to go to bed or it was really that entertaining, but I was watching the master class and I'm going, this is really good. Like this is good stuff, you know? So there's a part of this online thing that isn't going to go away.
Right.
We will still get to do it in person, but now in our kids class, we have kids from like 3 different states who have joined the classes. You know, I have this vision of, imagine you're in class and you have a community of people and some of them are from other countries, you know, and you've got like a friend from Australia who like tunes in and we get to see him on the big screen, and, you know, and you're literally building community with people around the world. And so you have your group of students here physically that would, at the same time you meet with your physical friends, you'd meet with your virtual friends. And, you know, so, I mean, that's one of those ideas where I'm going, yes, we're going to go back, but also what can we take from this and build upon and make what we were doing even better somehow, some way, you know? And that's kind of the goal there.
Absolutely. And I see, I'm part of like a Arizona Actors, like a Facebook group type of thing. And I see a lot of people now are doing that. They're doing like online acting courses, like here in Phoenix, but like people from around the country will join on Zoom and all get together on there. And that's how they do it. But this is going to definitely, you're right. This is going to bring another element to this that maybe we didn't see before. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a new challenge, and the way we face this challenge and do it together is going to make us all stronger. And it's the weirdest thing, because the hardest part about all this stuff is the unknown.
Yes.
If we were given an exact time frame and we could say, here's what's going to happen, it's going to go this way, here's the exact end date, and when it ends, here's what the world's going to look like, it would be a lot easier for people. But just the fact that we don't know and you're left unknown, it just makes it worse. Like, it could be better tomorrow and we don't know that, or it could be better 6 months from now and we don't know that either. So that's the area that everybody's kind of stuck in, and that's why you're seeing the riots. That's why you're seeing all the protests and different things, because people they don't like uncertainty, you know.
Yes, and the thing that I guess for me anyway, where most of my fear is, it's not really getting sick or anything like. It's more of how the world is going to change after this. It's how, you know, life is going to change irrevocably from what we knew before, and maybe even laws and how the country is operated. Everything's going to change, and for me, that is more scary than possibly, you know, getting sick. I don't know, even though that's scary too, but I mean, just the unknown, like you said, the change that's going to come here is a little frightening. Dude,
it's 100% frightening. I mean, and who knows if we made the right call already? Who knows if some people are making the right call? Like, I think Florida reopened their beaches. Yeah. Is that a good idea or not a good idea? Like, we don't know, right? But you can't keep people cooped up in their homes forever. So. No. So something's going to change, something's going to shift, and then you're right. There's going to be these massive changes, and those in and of themselves, you're right. Like I'm more scared of the people than I am of the virus, because
Yep.
you know, people being afraid of something are capable of doing some really crazy, weird things.
Absolutely.
So if we think about, okay, let's get through that, and then all these laws and things that are changing and whatever. Now what you got to do, and this will be my last piece of advice for the show, because I know we got to wrap here. But my last piece of advice is you take the change that's happening right now and just act as if it's forever. And rather than being scared of that, just go all in on what you can do to try to like stake your claim in the new world. And I think I said this yesterday too, but the idea here is, when the internet came out, some companies were scared of the internet, and they're like, this is not going to last. It's a fake thing. It's, whatever. And those who didn't go in and didn't innovate through it died.
Mhm.
Then like streaming came along. Because Blockbuster didn't go all in on it, they died. Like, they're out of business, I mean, I don't know if you know the story or not, but they had the opportunity to buy Netflix. Netflix offered
I did hear that.
Yeah, they offered their company to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster's like, you guys aren't going to be around in 5 years, so we're not worried about you. And
Whoops.
whoops is exactly right. So you take a company like Amazon, who's obviously killing it, and I've got my own feeling about Amazon, because they're kind of like a crazy, like, scary giant. But
Yeah.
one of the reasons why is because those dudes are fearless. They go into things and they say, well, we're gonna like figure it out. We're gonna be a part of this new wave, and some things have worked out for them, some haven't, but they're willing to innovate. They're willing to be on the front lines of the new stuff. And I think that's why, they're doing as well as they're doing. So if you can put yourself in that category of people, and instead of like being worried about what's going to still be the same and what's not going to be the same, if you just imagine that the way you're living right now is forever, and rather than being scared of that, think to yourself, what would I do if that were true? And how could I maximize that? Like, how could I stake my claim in this new territory quickly before everybody else gets there? And then, assuming a lot of things go back to normal, you've just put yourself ahead of everybody else, because you were still you were basically racing against time, like I am. You're racing against the 30 days, trying to stake your claim in the new world before everybody else does. And then when things kind of go back to normal, you're the one that has all the new technology and has the new way of doing things and has the new, knowledge and skills and whatnot. And so in whatever area you're in and whatever job or whatever you want to do, you're going to be ahead of everybody else who just sat back and allowed the fear to sort of take over their day. Because I'm not saying You're not going to be scared, because I am. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared every day. But I was before the virus. I mean, there's a new type of fear now, but I purposely put the fear of God in me, not to wake up. I put I so many fears that I've worked on and controlled and tried to create for myself that would help me be successful. So now I have this new coronavirus fear and people fear and new laws fear. And what I did was I sort of transmuted that fear into something where I'm still afraid, but I'm now afraid of it ending versus it being afraid of it not ending,
Yes. And, the right amount of fear can be a great motivator if you use it the correct way, which is what I think you're saying,
Yeah.
And it's just the balance between there. You're not getting freaked out about something, but like you said, to transmute it would be incredible, and that's something that
fear has energy to it, right? Like a lot of energy. So what you do is you say, how can I use the energy? I want to recycle this energy, and rather than letting it drive me down into the couch, into the chips, let me use the energy to drive me into something, even if it's like this insane like work ethic towards something that may or may not come true. At least I'm driving towards something that I know is going to, worst case scenario, make me smarter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dude, you're an awesome dude, Nick. We've said that since day one. You definitely belong in our community. We love having you over here. So don't be a stranger in and out of class, dude. We want to hear from you, okay?
Absolutely. I'll be in touch, and I do want to be involved as much as I can be with you guys. So I'll be giving you guys a call here soon. We'll set something up.
All right, we appreciate it. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to Mornings with Matt. We are here every morning, 7 a.m. Thank you for tuning in.